Hey, so how you guys doing? So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys a really cool tutorial, and also I'm gonna be doing a giveaway of these pens, 96 of them. They're the Arteza real brush pens. They say they use a type of water-based ink, but they really work like watercolors. But that's kind of like what watercolors are. Anyway, unlike watercolors, these are not, they're very bright. So if you want that like neon brightness, these will give that to you. But I'm gonna show you some cool tricks and tips on how to use these pens for watercoloring. And we're going to be doing this little drawing here. Hopefully you can see it. And yeah, so this is a piece I'm actually working on. It's not all of it right now. She's actually chained up, and then they turn into $100 bills. And it's anyway. I'm not going to talk about that. So let's just go ahead and get on with this. I highly recommend if you use these pens that use good artist paper. So good art paper, like what I mean by that is watercolor paper. So 100% cotton paper. This is a really good brand. That's pretty affordable. And this one right here is 10 by 14. You get 12 full sheets. Yeah, it's like right around like, I think it was, I can't remember how much it was actually on Amazon, but sometimes you can find this on sale for like 40% off at your local art stores. Actually, it's quite often, I guess. But there are other brands of 100% cotton, but you're going to pay for what you get. Now, if you need something in the middle, don't get something like Arteza's paper. Their paper is absolute crap for any type of wet media. For dry media, they're fine. The smooth side, great for pencil drawings. The rough side, if you want more of like a rough texture. This right here is the Archer's paper that we're going to work on right now, and I'll show you how crappy it looks when you work on the Arteza paper. And right there it might look okay, but there's like horrible bleeding. The paper starts actually coming up after only a couple layers. It's just horrible. And that was just testing out different things with these pens. But anyway, so that's that. Another thing we're going to be kind of reviewing and using throughout this, I'll be giving these away as well in another video, not this video, but I'll be showing you another video. So subscribe if you want to know how to get this free stuff. And right now, my channel is just now starting to get back into full swing of things. So it kind of like died out for a while. So right now, there's not a whole lot of participators. So you have a much better chance of winning something cool. And I'm going to be giving away all kinds of expensive stuff also in future. I have for example, $1,000 Cintiq draw-on tablet that you draw right on the screen with. So it's the Cintiq. Anyway, look it up if you don't know what a Cintiq is. But anyway, these are great water brushes, and this is for like if you're traveling or something like that, or they're just great too if you just don't feel like getting water and all that kind of stuff, and just want to get right into painting. So it's pretty cool for your pan paints, or even squeeze tube paints for watercolor. Now, these are very, very bright. I just want to make that clear from the beginning. So I'm going to teach you some tricks on how to get less vibrant colors to get something that's more pleasing to the eye if you don't want these like really bright skin tones. So for the first thing is, the 96 colors do come with some interesting colors for skin. And so I'm going to go through some of those here. We'll start out with that. And just grabbing some of my skin tones here. There we go. All right, cool. Definitely going to be using Dolphin Gray to tone stuff down, and then we're going to be using this kind of like purple color, and it's called Thistle Purple. It's 192 is the number on it. And then we're using like a pink as well for like little parts where we want to add in some differences. All right, so let's go and get started. So we got two different pale skin tones here. One is called light skin, and the other one is called pale skin. I recommend starting out with the pale skin and then working up from there. So here's just a quick technique you can do, and this is the water brush pen. You just fill it up with water, it unscrews. Make sure it's screwed on really tight, otherwise it will leak out the edge right here. The tip comes off. They actually fix this where if you click this on tightly all the way, that's not going to come off. That's staying on there, so you're not going to lose your cap as you're working. And then you just squeeze out a little bit of water and just very lightly squeeze water out of here and fill the brush up. I'm going to fill up with a lot of water right now because I got some color on here I forgot to get off. But it comes right off, as you can see. Now the brush is clean and ready to go. Have a paper towel with you, highly recommended. Maybe another piece of scrap paper, cheaper paper like Arteza or something like that. And so the first thing I want to do here is add in my skin tone. So I know that this is going to be where my highlight's going to be. I might leave my highlight to be white, and it's going to be, the darkest is going to be like right in here, and then maybe like here, and I'm going to have some other lighting hitting over here. So I'm going to just come right in here and start filling this in. Now if you notice, if you go wet on wet or wet on dry, the skin tones don't really like to work very well. See that? They don't really like to even draw lines or anything. And this is fully, activated, so it's not like it's not activated. And I think it's because of the white inside of it. So what I recommend doing is either dipping this in a little bit of water or rub it on some damp cloth first, and that will help it start flowing a little bit better. As I can see, it still just doesn't want to flow good. So what I recommend doing is taking the water brush and just adding a little bit of water to the area, just a little bit of dampness, not like a lot of water. Just squeeze it just very, very gently. You'll be able to see, you can't see it on camera, but you'll be able to see with your naked eye because you'll know that it's just a little bit damp. You'll be able to see it glistening, basically. I'm just adding just a little bit of water all the way around right here. Very little, just enough to be damp, so that way this brush doesn't dilute too much, and it just blends right out better. Gives it something to glide on, kind of. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to kind of go around the area where I want my flesh tone and highlight to meet. Again, like I said, it's really hard to blend this all out with this pen. This flesh tone is the only, like all the other colors are great and work really good and fast. But the flesh tone, anything like it looks like it has white in it, I think it's because they were trying to dilute it down. They should have diluted it down by using neutral colors. So, for example, the opposite of like purple would be orange. And so if you wanted a less vibrant orange, you can just add a little bit of purple glaze over it, and bam, now you got a toned down orange. It doesn't look nearly as bright. And this is taking forever. So anyway, get the idea. I'm going to lay down some more white here. Anyway, so all they had to do is to their skin mixture, instead of adding white, if they wanted to tone it down, all they had to do is add just a little bit of the opposite of the skin tone and to tone it down. So they could use like kind of like a blue-gray to tone it down with. That would have been fine. Or if you want to look at the color wheel, the exact opposite of skin tone, and they could have toned it down with that. But even with their dolphin gray, I'll show you how to tone it down with dolphin gray even. They could have toned it down with that. So and there we go. Alright, so once you have your main color down, if you want to right away not have it look so like vibrant like it does right now, is while it's still damp, you can take that dolphin gray and let's just do a quick glaze. So here's the dolphin gray. We can also use a little bit of purple, but this is much lighter. I'm just going to kind of go like that. I know it looks like bad right now, but we're going to take the water. Since we're working on good paper here, we can do this. And blend that right into the color. And I'm going to actually add a good amount of water onto this. I'm going to make this quite a thick layer right now of water. And I'm going to add a couple more drops down here. That's a full drop of water right now. I'm getting all this really wet, and this is a good way to glaze with the gray. Now take your gray and just boom, just go over all this really quickly here and just add a glaze of gray like that. Glaze of gray. And that tones it down quite a bit, so it's not as bright. And to give an idea, let me go ahead and use my pan paint here, like a really good Rembrandt pan paint. Really good watercolors, and you can actually use this for watercoloring. This brush right here, it's great for regular watercolors. I'm going to do that right over here next to it, so you can kind of see the difference of what a real good skin tone is. And I can make this skin tone very easily with my other watercolors as well. Just sometimes it's good to have a consistent base. I'm going to kind of blend this out with water. I'm just squeezing the brush very lightly to get a little more water added to the brush, and just kind of blend this around here. Don't worry, I'm going to be going over this again anyway, so I just wanted to show you how different the colors are. So a good skin tone looks like that, that's what a good skin tone looks like, versus this other one. Now every now and again you want to just squeeze some water through here and get the color off onto your paper towel, and now you got a nice damp brush again. I'm trying to let that dry just a little bit, but let's go ahead and go with our other color here. The next color I want to kind of go over this with maybe would be something that's like this one here. Let's see if this is a little bit darker. This is light skin. Light skin's not going to be darker enough, so let's go with the next one here, which is the Sunset Yellow 156. And I just want to kind of start adding in to my skin tone here where I'm going to want some other colors. And again, this is going to be way, way too bright. So right away, if you want to, you can add the opposite of of a sunset yellow. So you can add like a little bit of blue or something, like a lighter blue color. or a little bit of Payne's gray, or maybe just a little bit of this purple. I'm gonna add where it's gonna be darker right here. I'm gonna blend that out with water. This is again a way to get more natural colors. Now, if you don't mind having that vibrant, rich, kind of bright colors to your skin, then that's fine. Feel free to use whatever colors you want, and you can use this the slightly darker color of skin tone. So let's say this sunset yellow is not going to be the slightly dark. It's not even a skin. Let's see, where's the skin tone? I think it's this one here. This is like the next one. This is called ginger. And like I said, I know that this is all right here is going to be my darkest tone. I just want to kind of blend this out a little bit, blend it up like this. Here's a technique. You kind of lay in where you want it at, then take your water brush and blend it out. So just add just a little bit of water to your brush, wipe it off on your paper, make sure it's nice and clean, and then just take that color, whatever color you're working with. You got to work fast with these pens. If you take too much time, they stain way fast. So you got to start lifting and blending right away. A little more water and kind of wipe that off, and bam. Now, if I were to do all this kind of blending right here and this much working on that other paper, it just tears it right up. And when it tears it up, it's horrible. Like so. Now again, if I think that that's just too much, like oh, that's just too much, add a little bit purple into this, just for it's not so, it's still damp. I'm adding purple right in there. Now the purple I'm using here is the number 192. It's called Thistle Purple. Again, just blend that out with the water brush so it's not, there's no hard lines right there. I don't want any hard lines on my skin blending. So you can see that these work really well. And I can actually zoom in on this right here. Let's go ahead and just kind of focus on that part right here where I'm working on a little bit. Right there. That way you can just kind of see this part I'm working on here. So next thing you do again is, if you think that that's just too strong, we'll add a thin glaze of gray at the very end. But that right there is a pretty nice blend of just skin tones. If you want to add more differences in colors and stuff, you can do that. Now, one thing you can do too is you can add colors together. It's kind of difficult with these, but one way you can do that, let's say I want a little bit of pink. So let me go and add that first, actually, because right along here, along this edge, I kind of want a little bit of that pink. Put that in first. I can actually blend it out with either a skin tone or like the light skin tone. So I can start blending that out with that. And then I can take the watercolor, or not water, but my water brush, add a little bit of water to it, and then just thin this out. And like I said, it's really strong, but again, we can always take the vibrancy down with gray, like I said. Where's that Payne, or Dolphin Gray? I keep wanting to say Payne's Gray for some reason. A little bit of gray while it's wet. And look at that. Boom, it just takes the color right down. So it's not so strong of a color. Otherwise it's just way too strong. And there you go. That's kind of that's a pretty nice blend of color right there. I mean, I like that. It's more natural. So that's how you get a natural color with the skin, and that's just some techniques so far. There's a bunch of other techniques that we can use. And I'm trying to leave just a little bit of that white there. I'm going to come in with some skin tones right here. Now watch what happens when I put this skin tone right on top of that other, and this will blend right in with watercolors because it is watercolor. So just keep that in mind. You're not working with ink pens, you're working with watercolor pens. So these are real brush tips. They're actually real synthetic brush tips, the same kind of brushes, like brush tips you'd be working if you had a paintbrush. So just keep that in mind. And made for watercolors. Now look at that. The skin tone just really doesn't like to go on. You got to really kind of work it around and really trying to get it to come out, kind of shake it or something. I don't like the skin tones in these. But other than that, they're pretty nice. Look how much oranger that is compared to my Rembrandt skin tone. Let me go ahead and adjust this here really quick again. I should probably keep that just a little bit loose so I can kind of easily kind of adjust it back and forth. Anyway, This is a lot more vibrant than my skin tone, a lot more orange. But again, I can take that down by doing a glaze with water. So I can just drop some couple of drops of water, make sure I got enough water in here. Just quickly water over that. Like so, make it nice and damp, and then go from the darker side and just add a little bit of this gray right in there. I'm mixing the two colors together. Now another way to do this would be to mix them together on the palette. So you would take the palette, let's say right here, you'd draw some of this gray down like that right onto the plastic palette, take your skin tone, and you would just mix them and blend them together like this. Just bam. And then you would take that color, and actually I didn't want it there, and start putting it down. Now notice how that's not nearly as vibrant. Now it doesn't last very long before it stops doing what its thing. So it's like that's as much as I'm going to get before the blending goes away. I can also pick up that color with my regular brush and boom, just start adding it right on the paper. Now I'm going to show you a trick. Before that starts drying, let's lift that up. Wipe on the paper towel, lift up with water, dry on the paper towel, lift up with more water. Now we lift up most of that. This stuff does stain pretty fast, so that's there now. Right, so that's just some different techniques, like I said, you can do. Now there's other colors we can do as well. Like if you don't want to do these colors to make the blend, there's other colors we can use. So we can use like the purple, for example, and I recommend using the gray right away with it, because otherwise, and also the skin color. Otherwise, it's going to get way too. Like I have them both open, ready to go, like right away. I know I want my darker color to be here. I'm laying down that purple, coming out here underneath the buttocks. And then right away I'm going to take my gray. Not even going to bother putting the cap on yet. I'm going right in there and blending that in together. And then before that dries, I'm taking my skin tone again and coming right in with that skin tone and blending out and blending right into it while it's still wet. Blending out the edges a little bit. And notice I'm blending right into it. I keep blending it out over here and blending right into each other. That way it kind of gets rid of that purple. And again, if I want that kind of like pinkish highlight, I don't want it to be too strong either. I'm going to take my skin tone. I'm going to take the pink. Now this pink I'm using, it's called Bubblegum Pink 149 is the number. And I'm going to add just a little bit of that pink right in there. And then before it dries, I'm going to take my skin tone and just kind of blend right into it. Boom, like so. Let's say she's wearing some kind of bikini or something like that. That's like, I don't have much colors here, so I'm going to have a bunch of colors over here. Let's make it red, I guess. Man, this red is so vibrant though. But let's go ahead and make her wearing, I can always come back in and glaze and shadow and tone down the color. Right, because that's actually her crotch area. And right away, if I wanted to, I can take my gray and go, you know what, that's just way too strong. So let's take my dolphin gray. And bam, notice dolphin gray just kind of tones the color down. Doesn't really like make it darker or lighter, just kind of tones it. That's right there is fine. So you kind of get the idea how these kind of work, how they blend together. Let's say I wanted to blend this up here. I want to go from dark to light. So I want this to be darker and go up lighter like that. Again, there's tons of different colors I can use for that. I can go back to this color here that worked fine, and that was the ginger. And you can take your ginger color here. And let's kind of blend it up. And I don't know how high I want to go yet, so let's go up to right about here. Notice it's dry already. Bam, so ginger like that. A little bit of pink right here on the edge. I like having a brighter color where they are going to merge, where the basically where the shadow is going to start going into the back into the mid-tones. I like to add a little bit of a brighter color. Now that right there gives you, a very different effect, a very different look. As you can see, it's not the same look as down below. So notice the leg below has a little bit of purple into it, and that really does make a difference in how the skin tones look. And you can go really, really light if you wanted a really more light, like typical, I don't know how a lot of manga people like to work and stuff like that. I'm gonna add just a little bit of purple in there because I can't stand that. That's just, then I gotta add gray. Blend this out with some gray. I'm gonna blend it out with my water brush now. I really like this water brush. I thought it was gonna be really, really cheap because so far everything else by them, like their paper and stuff, has just been so horrible. But I'm actually pleasantly surprised with this water brush. I mean, I don't know how long it'll last before it's like just unusable, but for right now, it's really cool and it blends the colors so well. And yeah, it's just really nice for that technique. So I might just add a little more purple back into that because again, it's just too brown. But you know, if you want to get that color shift, we'll kind of blend the edges of that out. And you clean your brush just by simply, you know, a little bit of water and just wipe it on your paper towel. And boom, it's done. It's clean. Really awesome. Like you don't have to dip it in water and stuff like that. So I like it for that. As this right here all dries, it looks nice. You know, those are some nice skin tones. They're not too bad. They're not too bright. It's because I added that gray into it. Now, what happens if you don't add gray into it? When you're like, okay, let's say we're going to paint some of this arm here, and we're going to use our lighter skin tone. And I need to try to find different skin tones that are, these are so similar. These two are here like almost useless together. You have light skin and then pale skin, and they're really almost exactly the same. But let's just show, for example, let's say we wanted to blend more of a cartoony manga style. So we want these brighter colors. We don't want to gray them or dull them down. We're just going to lay that in there like that. I'm going to add a little bit of water to make it to where it's not so bright. Not so bright, not so thick. That's what I meant to say, sorry. So like that, and then I'm going to go with this other color and just see if it makes any difference. And so the other one was light skin. I don't think light skin is different enough to really make a difference. It's more just orange, I think, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to just kind of blend these colors together. And I don't know what color to use now because those are the only ones that are like lighter skin tones. Everything else is like pink or something. But hey, whatever. Let's go ahead and use the pink, right? Why not? Because ginger's brown. Unless you want your person to look more brown. This is, I think, the lightest pink that came with the set. There's this other skin tone. I don't know if that's going to do much. Let me see. The other skin tones are more yellowish. This one here is fair skin. So we can add, oh, fair skin goes on nice. I like this. This goes on really smooth and nice. Yeah, this doesn't have a bunch of white in it, so I would use the fair skin honestly if I was going to use, I mean, yeah, it's a little darker, but I would gray it down with a little bit of, you know, just put a little gray wash over it if you don't want it to be so vibrant and strong. That right there adds you a pretty good, you know, gradient of skin. And then if you want, maybe just add a little bit of pink, you know, to this bottom layer here where you want it to be more shadow. And again, I still think that's a little bit too, and then blend it out with the water brush because you don't want a hard line there in the skin. Clean the brush out. And I'm just trying to think what other color might be used to. What I would do, I would just, for the shadows, I would just mix gray, the dolphin gray, and these two together right here. This is what I would do personally. If I wanted to even have that brighter manga look, I would use the dolphin gray and the thistle purple together. And so I would first lay down the purple over that pink while it's still kind of damp. I don't want a lot of this. I just want the edge to be like that because I need room to blend. So I'm just doing very little bit. And I'm going to blend that color out into the next color, like so. A little bit of that pink kind of shows through because watercolor is transparent. Then I want to knock that down. You can do this with cheap watercolor paper, so keep that in mind. Now, the in-between watercolor paper you can use is maybe the Strathmore 400 series. It's not much more expensive than these like Arteza paper, but it'll actually give you the feel of watercolor. So I've actually done some professional pro pieces with that paper, and I actually showed you at least one of them. Mary Jane, I went down to Georgia. That one was actually done with that paper, and it looks really good. So yeah, okay, cool. Let's make sure it's all visible. And I'm going to kind of zoom in on this now so you can kind of see it a little better. Oops, gotta go up this way. There you go. All right, so you can see the colors look really nice, and then the arm. Notice how the arm. There you go. Let me try to turn the light away from it a little bit so you kind of get better. There you go, a little bit better idea of what the colors look like in person. So the arm's still nice and bright. You have a nice dark shadow there. And this is more of like that manga style. But what if you don't like that manga style? You know, it's just like, it's just a little too much. You know, it's just a little too bright. I don't want that really bright color. Again, take it, put it right over there. Trying to find the opposite of every color is going to be kind of hard, especially when the colors are so complicated. So again, just use dolphin gray. And just blend dolphin gray into like that. Don't blend it all the way up. You're going to blend it up with the water brush. A little bit of water on the brush there. And bam, look at that. There you go. You just tone the whole thing down. Now it looks more natural. It's still quite not as natural as regular watercolors, because regular watercolors you can really blend your own colors, and that really does help a lot. So there we go. Sorry, just trying to get this all back to where I had it there. There we go, make it more straight. I just wanted you to be able to see the pens and stuff I was using at the same time. So an example of that would be, what if I had purple, right? And I want to dull purple down. I can dull purple down with its opposite color, which is orange, or I can dull it down with the dolphin gray, and I'm going to show you the difference of that. So let's say I had a bright orange color. I don't know what I did with it. I thought I had it orange out. Sorry guys, give me a sec. Oh, here it is. So this just says orange. This is just orange. Now I'm going to show you this on this other piece of paper over here. This is a paper I was doing before, just testing out some colors. So if I lay down the orange, I'm going to have three little patches here. So the first patch will be pure orange. You can see how bright it is. Next patch, and next patch. So these colors go on really nice. Not only do they go on really nice, you can get nice, thin lines with it. You can get thicker lines with it. So these are pretty nice brushes. They're not bad at all. All right, so there's my dark, or my super bright neon orange. Now let me go ahead and zoom in on this. So what happens if I want to dull down? I can use the opposite color, which is purple. So that's opposite of orange. I need to get this kind of wet here so I can blend these two colors while they're still wet together before they dry. They dry pretty fast, so you got to work quickly. All it takes is a little bit of purple. You can also mix them together on the palette and then work it in that way, but you can only have a small area to work with. I'm going to get all the color off my brush here. I'm going to add some water over this first. And I'm going to add the gray. Just a very, very little bit of gray is all you need. Comes out a lot, so then use the water brush. You can see the difference here between them. Even before they dry, you can already tell the difference. So this right here neutralizes the orange. So it's a more neutralized orange. That is, it's a more desaturated orange. It's not so saturated. This is your full saturated orange. This also desaturates it. So whenever you're in question, just use the dolphin gray. And just do a thin glaze over it with dolphin gray, and it'll bring any color down. Even a super, super bright color. Let's say you're working, I don't know, you're looking like a neon yellow, right? Now the opposite yellow is actually kind of another kind of purple too. So you can dull it down with purple as well. But you want to, oh, that's not neon yellow. Where did my neon yellow go? I had neon yellow out earlier. I was using it. I was like, wow, that's cool. That's the only thing I'd want to use these for, would be neons. Like if I want, there we go. I don't know why I'd ever want neon in any of my paintings, but if I ever did want something neon in my painting, this would be a way to get it. And it's really, I guess I can always buy regular paints, but they have neon colors in them. Oops, I forgot to clean my brush out. And now I just added a little bit of orange on an accent. So I'm going to do half of it. I'm going to just, boom, we'll dull it down with purple. Same purple we've been using. You can see it kind of dulls it down. We can use this dolphin gray and knock down that neon. Of course, you wouldn't use a neon yellow if you wanted it knocked down in the first place, right? You'd use a different yellow, and it does have other yellows in this kit, this 96 color kit. So that's what. But don't notice that now it's not nearly as neon yellow. It's still coming pretty bright though, but not quite neon yellow. All right, back to here. So the color that I said I liked for the base tone was, what was that color again? I think I may have already lost it. It was really cool though. It was, sorry, trying to go back to these colors I was using. It was one of these colors. So let's see here. We got some colors here. Got that darker color. We have the pale skin, no. Light skin, no. Sunny yellow. Sunset yellow, that wasn't it either. And then you have this kind of orange rust, that wasn't it either. Hold on. I'm trying to find that color of skin. I mean, orange rust is pretty cool for skin in general, for certain parts of skin. Mix those two together, that make a kind of a neat skin tone. But there was one, where did it go? Is it this one? Fair skin, there it is, I found it. I found it, guys. Alright, so fair skin goes on much easier than these other colors. So I'm going to go with fair skin for all this over here. Look at that, goes on nice. It just paints right on like it's supposed to. It is pretty, you know, it's a bright color. There's no doubt about that. It's not, but again, you can always do a glaze. So even if this dries, you don't have to do it when it's wet. You can do it when it's dry even. So we can come here like that. Going right along my shadow line here. I'm going over all this right here because I just want it all same color for right now. A lot slower than working with Copic markers, that's for sure. But they give you a totally different effect. These are watercolors, so you're going to get a watercolor looking effect out of it. Now, I do want to do a thin layer, but I don't want to use that color. I'm going to do like a fair skin or something right here. Boom, like that. And I'll blend it out with the water brush. I'm going to kind of blend the edge here. Let's use a little bit of water on my brush here. There we go. Just blending the edge here a little bit so it's not such a harsh line where it goes out to the, there we go. So that's a good start, I think, like, you know, for color. It goes on really faster, a lot faster than these other colors. So that one was called fair skin versus the light skin and pale skin. Those are really hard to put on. And now I can decide, okay, how do I want this to look? So I go, let's say I want my darkest part to be here, so I'm going to add a little bit of that pink in there. And then I'm going to go purple. And that's to be my shadow color. So I want a little bit of darkness here. I want a little bit right here. All right here is going to be darker. I want to work this in. If it's still kind of, I mean, it's already starting to dry out a little bit, that's fine. You can always glaze over it. Notice, if you have that color down first, if I just put purple straight down by itself next to a skin tone, it looks purple. That's not what you want. You want to blend the two colors together. So it's blending in with that color underneath it. Like if you're glazing over another color, that other color will show through, which is more what you want. And then I'm going to kind of tone that down with just a little bit of gray all throughout everything here. I'm going to go ahead and get this nice and wet. This is what's cool about Arches paper. You can really get this nice and wet. I'm going to kind of blend out the edges there. And bam. All it took was a little bit of gray. But even so, if I still wanted to kind of tone it down a little bit, just add a little more gray over everything while it's drying. And then while that's happening too, you can always come back in with your light colored, you know, skin, like light skin or pale skin, and just add a little bit of that back in there while it's still wet. And bam. And then let's say, I don't know, I need some sort of background color here. So let's say for now, I'll just put this right here down. This is my background color. Like so. And then I take my water brush, probably clean it off because I don't want colors mixing. Just a little bit of water through it, just give a little bit of squeeze, dab on the paper towel. And then before this dries, start blending out those edges a little bit. You really got to work fast, so you got to do like small little areas at a time with this stuff. and like that, and I can just start blending that out. A little more water, clean my brush off. Now I'm using a good amount of water here to really just fade this all out, like so. That just allows, I should have let that dry before I did that, but I'm trying to do this fast for you guys. Alright, so as you can see here, we have a nice look going on, and what I'm trying to show here is the outline. So basically, let's go ahead and the reason why I'm adding a little bit of background color here, this is what sucks with these, is they're not so good at covering in larger areas. And so as you can see, it's kind of hard to cover in a large area. You can always get the paper a little bit wet before you go in with it though, and that helps. I'm dropping just a straight water right on there. Kind of come in here and just kind of blend this out here. I'll kind of use it on its side. I actually can't really use these brushes on their side, unfortunately. A little more water. There you go. I don't really care if it has shape to it. This isn't supposed to be some fancy piece of work here, so what I'm just trying to show is if I add a little bit of background color here, it makes everything else start to pop out a little bit and gets rid of some of those hard lines. But as you can see, if you want to color in a big space, see how it's like hard, you got to really work it. Again, you can just slightly dampen the area first and it makes it a little bit easier, but still that's the main downside of these brushes is if you want to color in a bigger area, it makes you really have to work for it. Not as bad as like trying to fill in color in an area with a ballpoint pen or something, but still, it's pretty bad. You got to really sit there and be patient to fill in areas, whereas with real watercolor, well, these are real, but with watercolors and actual brushes, or you can even use this brush with watercolor. This brush though, when it used, I mean, they do make some bigger flat brushes, but you want to use a flatter brush and watercolor and just boom, you can just fill in a lot of area. With this, it's like little areas at a time. All right, so there you go. Pretty cool. And I can continue working this more if I wanted to, but you kind of get the idea of what they do, I think. And then, oh wait, I didn't realize that a lot of that was even showing through on the camera. Sorry about that, guys. But I can kind of see there. Might have to like speed through that part. I'm trying to get this to where it's more. Anyway, something like that. All right. So anyway, there you go. Now you can always use like there's like some really cool colors. Like, I mean, they got some neat greens and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just mess around with some cool colors really fast. I'm gonna just grab like some colors I think look cool. Like this color here. They have some decent earth tones too, kinda. Most of it's very, very bright though. Vibrant colors. And I have no idea what the color these two are, but let's go and take some of these blues out. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get these colors here. And let's try this one and this one. Okay, cool. A bunch of cool different colors. I'm kind of curious what this one does. This one is called Ice Blue. Let's add some ice blue to the hair here. Oh, this is actually really nice. This might be better for neutralizing than the gray. Look at this. Might have found a new color, Ice Blue 173. Let's go ahead and go over, like, all this right here looks a little bit bright to me. Let's add a little bit of water to this. I'll actually add a good amount of water to all of it. Boom. Like that. Go back to this ice gray. Let's just start mixing this in here. Oh yeah, it's nice. You almost can barely even see what it's doing. It's so subtle, but it's really, and I can go on my paper towel and get it back to its true color, as you can see over here. And I might have got that too wet, but it is making a difference. It is changing all this skin tone to where it's not nearly as, this is all dry. So if I add a little bit of that in there, and then while it's dry, I'm just kind of curious different techniques here, see if it works. Bam, okay, cool. Look at that. Yeah, that's nice. That adds a really good softness. See why this is just barely damp? Add a little more back in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of this into the arm real quick here, like this, to this bottom part of the arm. Lay it in kind of thick. That was right on dry. I didn't wet it down first. Now I could take my wetness and just kind of blend it up into the lighter color. A little bit more. There we go. Look at that. That just totally toned everything down. Now it's not nearly as cartoonish. It starts to look more realistic. Now, believe me, if I were to really start adding in all the, you know, blended colors and everything throughout this piece and added a full background, I mean, it'd look really nice, but we don't have enough time to go through and do all that. I like this though. This is a nice color. But again, stay tuned, subscribe. So if you want to see, or if you want to know like when the video comes out, subscribe, hit the notifications, that way you're notified, that we don't miss out on the free stuff, because I'm going to be giving these away and a bunch of other cool stuff. Huion light boards, so that you can trace much easier over your own work. It's good for animation. It's good for if you just want to fill in stuff. Let's just look at some of these other colors really quickly here. This is a nice bright green. Notice most of our colors are really, really bright. We have this other green next to it. Ooh, that's a nice kind of bright looking sea green. And then we'll go into some blues here. I'm going to add this color right here. That's pretty cool. Kind of blend that in with that color. Kind of blend it up. Like so. Then I'm going to go with my super bright blue here. It's a darker blue, but more pure blue. Whoa, that's dark. I'm not trying for anything spectacular here. I'm not even trying to I'm just blending colors to see how they look. I'm literally not trying to make something look cool. And then finally, we got this dark, dark, dark blue. Oh yeah, this you can almost use for black. That's cool. Add a little bit of that in there, come down here. And again, my main downside is how long it takes for the brush to kind of fill back up with more paint. So if you want to fill in a big color, a big area of color, you have to go slow like this. This is how long it takes. You just gotta sit there and keep brushing and brushing and brushing. And wow, like that would get old really, really fast. So, but for more graphic design type stuff, whatever, maybe it'll work. I know for how I work, these will not work for me. And if I'm going to do more of a graphic design kind of look, I'm going with Copic markers anyway. So, but these are cool. Don't like get me down. I'm not trying to say they're not cool. They're cool. For what they are, in the price range, very affordable. So compared to something like Copic markers, these are very affordable. My set of Copic markers for much less colors cost me like $200 or something. Going right over that kind of gray, and notice how that kind of like blue gray whatever kind of like tones that color right down. Boom. I almost want to kind of just finish it off with kind of like a yellow or something if I don't have it. So I mean I do, I just don't have to go dig for it. But yeah, you can see how they blend together. I just want to give you an idea like how bright these colors are. Like some of these colors are just insanely bright. It's just crazy. What happened to that one color I was using that I said, wow, that might replace the gray? Was it this color that I was using? No, that's not it. But I might as well go ahead and add that in here, right along the edge. Already I see a loose hair there. I think I lost the color somehow. What did I just do with it? Oh, okay, no, I did. I put it over here for some reason. Ice blue, okay. Yeah, ice blue, just really cool. It's almost a gray, but really nice for going over it. I actually like it better than the dolphin gray for as far as toning colors down so they're not so bright. Like let's say I wanted to, this blade right here, for example, watch this. Just come in here and just start glazing over it. Now some of these colors that are really much more darker are going to be a lot harder to tone down, but watch this. I'm going to tone the two ones next to it down as well. I'm going to tone this down as well. Look at that dark color. But watch this. It's toning it down. It's neutralizing it. Making it to where it's not so bright. Very light touch. Just very lightly going over because I don't want to ruin the brush tips. Now that looks far more neutralized over here than all this bright colors over here. Hopefully that comes through on the camera. The camera kind of tends to make everything look more saturated. So yeah, so there you go. That's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you learned something. If you already own these pens, some different tricks you can do with them. And if you can't afford Copic markers, but you want something that works similarly, not really actually. Copic markers are really a thing of their own. But if you want something that you can get some cool graphic design with, graphic design type work with done, then these will accomplish that. I just feel like, I don't know what I would really use them for, honestly. Except if I just wanted some really bright neon colors in one of my pieces. That's the only thing I can really think of. Like, man, if I wanted some bright neon colors on my pieces, this would just be fantastic for that. Notice I'm almost using that as a blending brush right here. Just to blend that color out. Now I'm going to come over here to my paper towel and get it right back to its true color. Add some of that kind of almost blue-gray back into this. And then I'd go back over it with some white maybe and so forth. I wanted to see like if I added a little bit of brown and blue together, because that usually makes black. And that kind of almost looks like burnt umber. So if I add that with this, I'm just kind of curious if it'll make kind of a black color, and it does. So like traditional watercolors and traditional paints, you add those two colors together and you get black. Really nice looking black. Basically ultramarine blue, burnt umber together, and you get black. So there it is, folks. Just trying to think what else I can talk about with these things. I guess the last thing I could maybe do is go, well, does white go over them? And how does this water brush work with white? So this is a water-soluble white. It's white ink by Kiritake, White Ink 30. And this is great for adding in highlights and things like that. And I'm curious how this water brush works with it. And let's see if it ruins the water brush or not. These are so affordable that I'm not really worried about it if it ruins it. But I don't think it will, because I've used it with my regular brushes. And I'm going to kind of wipe most of the moisture off of here and just pick up a little bit of this white here. And let's go in somewhere where hopefully it's dry now. Just add a little bit of white on there. And then my main thing, I wanted to add a little bit of, oh, look at that, a little bit of water. And it thins it right out. You can like add right over it. You can thin it out and blend it right in there. So if you wanted to lighten up an area, look at that, works great. That's fantastic. So you can lighten up an area really good with this stuff. Then you can get all the excess off. Just run some water through it and just wipe on your paper towel. And yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let's check this out then. Just a little bit here, just want a little bit on there. And I'm going to kind of put a little highlight right here. I'm going to come back in here and fix this edge up, just to see how hard it is to fix up edges with this. Boom, works good. That's awesome. Let's say we add like a little bit of a white. I'm going to kind of mix it with some water now. I'm squeezing my pen to add some water to it, kind of get some of that off. I'm going to kind of blend this out there. Perfect. Look at that, nice. Just a little bit more right here. And now I'm going to go ahead and start blending this out with water. Boom, pure water, boom, just like that. Now what that allows me to do is add this kind of like a little bit of light, very, very light. I don't want it to be too dark, just very light back into the dark. And then I can later let that dry and add a color back on top of it. And so let's say I wonder if it's wet if I can add a color back on there. Let's say I wanted pink. I don't know. For some reason I wanted some pink right here. Oh yeah, it blends right together nicely. Look at that. Boom, just goes right into it. Then I can take my, get that back to its true color. Take my water brush here, get all that white off of it, and come right back in and just blend that in, just like so. That's cool. So yeah, and if you wanted to add some super bright highlights, you could as well. So I'm going to clean the brush off here. Get it super dry. I'm going to hold the tip like this. That way I don't accidentally squeeze water out. I'm just going to get a little bit of paint on here. And I'm going to kind of go like that. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add like a little bit of white highlights here and there. Unfortunately, you might have to just put a little bit of water in your brush here. I'm just trying not to get it too, there we go, a little bit of water in the brush. I'm trying to thin it out, but not too much, just so I can get this nice lines. There we go. A little better. This isn't the finest brush. There are a couple in the set that are finer, so really you can put a nice opaque white down. I can get even more opaque than that. If I wanted, like, let's say just dot a part of this, and you can get as white as you need to be, but then you can't be as detailed with it. But you can add those white, really white spots back in there if you needed it for whatever reason. You know, let's say you needed some really opaque area. I can come back in here and add that nice white back in here. You're just putting the paint, you know, putting that stuff on right, just straight on there like that. Let that dry, and then you can go back in and add color to it if you want to. It's kind of picking up some of the color underneath it, but yeah, it works great. So yeah, just like watercolors. You can also use this for inking and Copic markers. This is that's what this is made for. This is made for inkers. So if you're an inker, this is some of the best stuff out there, I think, for covering up your mistakes. And then going back, and you can draw right back over it, so it works really good for that. It also works good for watercolors to add some really bright highlights where you want them, really bright white. And you can also just dull it down with a little bit of water. And as you saw me over here, it blends right in with your watercolors, and you can't even tell. It's a little bit more opaque, but that same thing can happen if you use gouache or you use acrylic or white watercolor. Opaque, any type of opaque. Basically, white is an opaque color, so it naturally has to be. Its pigments are naturally opaque. Okay, so that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys learned something here and liked it. And if so, again, subscribe and stay tuned for what is coming. That is other tutorials and stuff like that. I'll be showing you guys a little bit with maybe some tips with watercolors. I did one with Copic markers, so just search my channel for Copic markers. Do me a favor. If you want to stay tuned and you want to make sure you don't miss out on the free giveaway stuff, you have a really good chance of winning because there's not going to be a whole lot of participants at this particular time. So all you have to do is click on my name, Learn to Draw. That takes you to my channel's homepage. Hit the subscribe button on the homepage. Right next to that, after you hit subscribe, a little bell shows up. Hit that bell and then say yes to notifications on the pop-up. The reason why you want to do that is so that way you don't miss out, because otherwise you might not know when I post the video and you might miss it. And so then I'll post the video for the giveaway. I'll be giving away this whole entire set of 96 colors. I am tempted to want to keep some of the neon colors, just like really, really bright colors, but I'm not going to. I can always buy those again if I ever need something like that. But I can always make neon. I can just buy neon watercolor paint. But honestly, I just can't see me ever using this in my watercolors. And if I want bright colors like this, I'll just do a Copic marker, drawing. So because I can blend Copic markers very similar. But I like the effect of how this blends. I mean, these blend really good. Look at that. I made it to where, remember how bright that looked? Now it looks very more natural. So I took something that looked very non-watercolorly or non-artistic looking, non-painterly, looked very graphic-y and very bright, and made it look not so bright. And just to, again, give an idea of what that's like, if we take the fair skin, or where's the other one that went on better? There was a light skin, there was fair skin, and then there was... Anyway, go ahead and subscribe, comment. That's apricot, that's not it either. I think this was it right here. comment, ask questions in the comments. That one's pale skin. Well, shoot, can't find it now. How do I keep losing that one skin tone? I'm just gonna grab them all here. So I know I have. Here's one of these ones. Okay, I got fair skin, pale skin, light skin. I think it was fair skin is one that went on easier. And so if I draw this right here with the fair skin, so that right there is gonna be where the highlight is, just to give you an idea. And then I'll add. Oops, I already picked up some other colors and muddied it a little bit. That's. And you can see next to it just how bright that is, especially if I use something like, you know, the peach or pink or something like that, something more like, you know, manga people might do to add in their shadow color. And you can even blend it out with the water brush so it's not just so crazy. Just getting some straight water out of the brush right now. And blend that out so there's not a hard line. And kind of blend the two colors together so they're not too distinct from each other. And I'm also going to blend this out right here. Get some nice clean brush again by just running a little water through it. And just pick up that color a little bit and blend it out. I'm going to drop water right on the page. There we go. That blends it much better. And you can see how bright that looks compared to the other colors. And let me go ahead and zoom in on that so you can really see. Look at that. It almost looks like orange armor or something rather than like metal or something next to the skin tones I made. But again, all you have to do to fix that is you can either take that dolphin gray or that new color I found right here. This was awesome, the ice blue. And just mix that ice blue right in there with it. And that's going to knock the color right down. Look how fast it knocks it down. And mix it over here. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this out over here so I get back to that true color. And there she is. Bam. Go over here, get back to that true color. Just putting it right over like that. Boom. And then I would just add a little bit of the purple that I was using before to add my shadows back in there while it's wet. And now we got something that looks very much similar to everything else I had going on. And voila, skin tones rather than orange armor. Okay, so again, I had to do that. Yeah, so definitely stay tuned, stay subscribed, because when I do that video, I don't want people to be like, oh man, I missed out on the free giveaway, and I'll like feel bad, and I'll be like, sorry, you missed out on the free giveaway. You know, there'll be more free giveaways, so that's not gonna be the only one. But yeah, if you go ahead and subscribe, then you're not gonna miss out on that. So, and now I'm just dinking around now for the hell of it. I kind of want to get a light color here like this. I kind of want to see how this blends out with water. So if I wanted to really get a blend here, just getting a little more water on there. There we go. That kind of blends right out in there. Cool. Then I can take that Payne's gray or even the better one, the ice blue. I'll do Payne's gray for right now. And just add that right in there to the edge. And then I can add water back into it again, so if it's too much gray, that kind of blends the two colors together. And bam, we're basically blending the colors together right on the paper. And we're just going to blend it out a little bit more. There we go. At this point, you know, I'm done. The video is pretty much done. I'm just dinking around a little bit here to see what I can do a little more working on it. But as you can see, if I sat here and really worked with this, I can get something that looks like a cool painting. It wouldn't be that difficult. Let's go ahead and zoom out now. And there you go. So cool. That's paper towel. Yeah. Okay, that's it. For real this time. Clean out my watercolor brush. So yeah, basically coming up soon here, I'll be giving away these pins, and I'm going to make sure one of these come with it. so that way you don't have to buy it. And then the other two I'll give away to some, to two different other people. So these 3 will be given away to. One of them will come with the pins. So one person's will win 96 pins plus one of these, and then 2 other people will win 2 of these. And then I'll be doing other future giveaways as well, which will be things like paper and other art supplies, a light board. It's about a $40 light board, $1,000 Cintiq tablet, Wacom tablet. It's just my older tablet that I don't use anymore. Yeah, just a lot of cool stuff down the road. I can't think of all the stuff I have. I have a lot of art supplies though that I'll be giving away. So, alrighty.